right, well, good morning, Jack Gaughan. And this is John Tice. I'm coming to you today from our Carlisle office. And I'm glad to see so many people have logged on already today. We have a nice group. Maybe we'll challenge last week's total attendance for this webinar program and idea. So my goal in coming around to the different offices is just simply to have a presence in your office and give you a chance to participate in this live event. Doesn't mean that you're going to be on a camera, but you can have a donut because we have fantastic donuts here today that seem to travel with me, or rings of death, as they're calling them here in Carlisle today. So I hope you find this one interesting. I'm working my way through our gateway, and I wanted to give everybody an opportunity to, if you aren't using these tools, to at least know what they are, and so you know what you're ignoring, or have a reference that the day that you decide you want to use them, you can simply log in and watch this archived version of these videos once again, and give it a refresher or see how that one thing worked or where did that button hide that you heard me talk about. So I've been thrilled. I know I've mentioned it before, but some of these archived versions have been viewed over 80 times. And so I can see you're finding some value in it. I find that pretty exciting. So thanks, everyone, for your participation. Thanks, everyone, for being online today. And without any further ado, let's take a look today at Cole Realty Resource. It's right in the middle of the page on your gateway login. But once you've logged in, a simple click will take you right into Cole. And if you haven't used this, I put in my email, this is something you wanted for years. Years ago, we used to fight over the blue books and who had the blue neighborhood directory. And those things would disappear, and we'd find them under a pile of stuff on somebody's desk, or we'd find it in their back seat because they took it home with good intentions. And then we went into links. And links brought us a street directory, Street Finder. And many of you like that, but we found that that data just wasn't updated. And so over a period of time, with the return mail that we were getting, everybody kind of walked away from that one, and there was grumbling for many years. We didn't have a reliable source to generate these lists that we wanted to use. And now today, in the meantime, many people bought into other resources. In Hershey, we had a disk that had a couple counties. We found it to be incredibly expensive, but it was great, and it was updated every 6 months. So that was pretty exciting. One of the great advantages of Cole is now you can log in directly from the gateway at any time. You don't have to find the book. You don't need the disk. It's not dependent on any particular platform you're using. And one of the things that many people don't recognize, it's updated every month. So this information is incredibly current, and it's simply one click from the gateway and you're logged right into the main system. Today we're going to do a couple searches, and it's that time of year where my original training says it's time to go looking for listings. So we'd be doing some marketing of any kind that probably was mailing, but if you're into telephone calls, we're going to show you how to get to an immediately scrubbed list for a similar location. So if mailing is your style, if door-to-door is your style, if phone calls are your style, I'm going to show you a way to develop lists that you can work with immediately, regardless of which platform you like. So for our purposes today, we're doing a neighborhood search because we want homeowners. We can build this around any particular location that we like. So if you have a street, the only two requirements is the street and the state. I would certainly tell you to add more than that because we want to make sure we're in the right town with your information. But we'll put our studio audience to work here. Bob, give me an address that we can work from.
33 Creek Road.
33. Now, I believe in the less is more search strategy. So this is Creek Road we're searching for, but I'm not adding the road part. There's too many different ways to sell road. And just like searching in the multi-list or the tax records, it could be RD, it could be anything. What we're going to do is end up with a lot of nothing. And so I'm just going to use the word creek. So we're going after 33 Creek Road, Camp Hill, Pennsylvania. And we have the zip code, so that's terrific. Today we're doing a mailing list off of that. And we'll just simply go in and search. So we found 33 Creek Road. Today it's with an RD. And that's our center point of our search. And from that, we can go out in any number of ways. We can do a street search and just find things on the same street. We can do a radius search and go out, just keep pushing it out probably by quarter miles or blocks. They're all different. But for me, I like specific neighborhoods because the data is becoming so very localized right now, and my marketing is very targeted. I like the map search, and I'll show you why. First, here's our location of our property. Now we can do a radius search from here, or we can do a free-form plot. Since we're adjoining a memorial garden, you may not want to mail to them. You're really going to get no response. Dead leaves.
That's good, yeah.
So in October, maybe, but this time of year. But let's say that Carlisle Road is going to be our dividing line, and we want to stay within this particular area. Or maybe I want to reach out to Green Lane Farms, because that might be a feeder for this particular neighborhood. Those are lower priced homes, and they would buy up into this location. I don't have a clue. I know you have a better idea of what you would do. So I'm a big fan of free-form plotting, and here's why. Because we're going to simply draw a box.
That's something I never tried, is free-form.
And it's going to allow us to pick just the homes that we want with as many points as you'd care to add. So we're going to come over here all the way to Lisburn. So now we've got our box for searching. It's not going to let me add a point in here. I don't think I can move this. So we're going to get a couple of the residents of the Memorial Gardens, but I think we're going to be okay. So we can view the available prospects. So we've simply gone around and clicked, and now we'll view our prospects. And here you go. We're going to pick up Boxwood Lane, Amherst, Grinnell. They're all going to be part of that search. Sound like the right place? Terrific. So some of the data that's in here that you might not be aware of, I'm going to tell you the purchase price of the property, when it was last transferred, and its approximate value today. So you've got some great data. You can see the do not call list and the phone number. We've got all the contact information for these folks. So you can do some really effective stuff. Maybe you don't want to be mailing to somebody that bought that home in 2008, 9, during the height of the market. Maybe you want to dodge that bullet, or maybe you've got a plan to help them and you have a specific piece of mail that is the buyer you're looking for, or seller that you're looking for. Well, this is a guide. You're going to find it's not any more accurate with their estimated value than any other estimate or anything else, but it's a quick and dirty guide to when they purchased it and what they have in this property. So we can simply go ahead and make our selections of our parties that we want to mail to. It's not rocket science by any means. So you can simply add or delete people that you do or do not want to have part of your mailing. You have to be careful if you do one of the group selections. So if we hold down Shift, we're eliminating the stuff we've already chosen. So you want to add a large group with one click, you can hold down Shift and you will get them. So whichever way you choose to add them in, you're building your list. So we have over 400 names for that neighborhood. You can make that mailing as broad as you'd like. Once we have them, we can simply download them. Or we can simply select them all, and you can see your sort choices up here. So we'd like to download them because I want to get you thinking, we're creating this list, and we're going to immediately merge it right into that postcard mailing. And so those of you that have worked with me over the last year know that we've dropped them right into Excel, and we're going to merge them through Publisher into our envelopes, whatever you want to do. You can also throw them off into Avery labels, and they'll come up formatted for you. So if you're a label person, not my preference, but if labels work for you, you can easily format them for labels and print them out. Why would you do that? You're going to be printing a label that you have to buy the labels, stick them on an envelope. You've got all these multiple operations, and your open rate's going to be lower, guys. So personally, I would do the direct mail right onto the piece. If you like handwritten stuff, pick a handwritten font. Pick a blue color. Let's add a little science to what we're doing. You're going to raise your open rates, and it looks more like a personal piece of mail, and it looks like a much higher quality piece of mail than it does with a label. If labels are your style, more power to you. I'm glad you're doing something, but we can teach you how to do it in a little better format. So I'm going to drop them off to my Excel program. So I simply select Excel, all fields separated. Excel knows what that's all about. And let's give it a download and see what we get. We're going to open them. And there you go. You already have your header row in here, which is so important. So you've got your street address, house number, city, state, zip. You're ready to go. Again, you're getting all of the information, so you can easily start to drill this down. If you want to segment the market, because you've done a market analysis for this neighborhood of homes that are going to be 150 to 200 or 2 to 300. If you watched my Market Quest program last week, this would be a great way to take that Market Quest data that you created last week, that special report, homes 2 to 300,000, and put that in a quick postcard to these folks. What's happening in your neighborhood? Here's my free home valuation report, or the snapshot of the last 3 years of your price range in your zip code. I could put that on a postcard and have this going out the door in an hour, postmarked and ready to go without a lot of heavy lifting, and you're going to look like a pro. So if you combine the two things that we talked about last week with this, that's for these estimated ranges we come in and be real helpful. Again, you can figure out your market and the message that you're trying to put out. But right now, everybody is looking for, what is my home worth? Home sellers, it's always the #1 question. This is nothing new. So give them what they're looking for, or be the guy that's positioning to give them that answer. We can send them a chart, call me for my free market analysis for your particular neighborhood, and then I would roll right into Toolkit, do a search, create a cool little 3-4 page report, and show up and hand that out all day long, whether it's by direct mail, whether it's at your next open house, whatever you do, walk the neighborhood. You've got 3 powerful pieces that we've covered over the last 3 segments of my WebExes. Those are archived if you didn't see them. But you can put together this whole marketing plan and come running down the street in January and set yourself up as a market expert for this year, because you're giving people something that they want, and everybody's reluctant to share with them what has sold, what's it worth. And it's the #1 thing, whether they're buying or selling, that people want to know. And it's the #1 thing they're looking to you for. So we've gone in, we've created our search, we've dropped it into Excel, And now I've got a quick little mailing list, 38 names, 37 names, that I can put into a mailing just like that. And, you know, again, watch my publisher piece, and you'll see how to create the market piece, how to merge the labels, to put the whole thing together, or call me and we'll sit down and run that again. So a real quick and viable solution for you to get to these answers. So I know Bob and Phil get together, and you guys still make phone calls. You are Floyd Whitman devotee. And so if you were going to do this thing, we're simply going to go back to the beginning. We still have the same address. But you tell me if this makes your life a little easier. You want a scrub list of phone numbers? Now, we just had 37, probably 10 to 15% are all that they could call that aren't on the do not call list. So let's take that same address, make the telemarketing selection right here, and do the same search. We're back at the same point. Do we want to do street, radius, or map? Well, I pulled information on this mapped area, and so I really know the demographics and what's been selling. I really know the numbers, so I want to be the expert down here. So once again, I'm going to do my same plot. So we've created our map search area. We're going to view the available prospects. And so what do we get? We have 196 records in that block that are all good to call. And we don't have to skip 18 lines to get to the next one. We're going to knock this thing off in a couple pages just like that. And everybody is fair game because this has been scrubbed against the do not call list. So I've got your name, your number, your address, when you bought your home, what you paid for, what we think the market looks like. There's one. He bought it in 06 at 196, and this is estimating 187. Might take a different phone call than the guy right below him that bought in 77 for 39, and he's at 178. And after 30 years in that house, might be somebody that needs to talk to you about selling his home and may need some additional services. This gives you tremendous amount of information, and you can print this out and sit by your phone for 2 days and make these phone calls, or show up for my call to action, and we'll scrub one of these out and have this available for you. Again, we're third. If you have a question, my live studio audience.
So is it possible to take this and drop it into your contact management system and then follow up with them so you can a little more systematized for your follow-up?
Sure. Okay, the question here is, can you take this list, drop it into a contact management, any CRM that you're using, and give yourself a little more of a method to your madness, a system so you can follow up, drip on them, do whatever? Yeah, absolutely. Now, the only thing that you'll have to do, you might need a little advanced skill in using Excel, because the big easy button is we're going to drop this, we're going to select them all. We're going to take them and do the same thing. We're exporting them with all fields separated into Excel. And the only thing we're going to have to do is be able to copy and paste within Excel. Because what I'm going to recommend is that you use the spreadsheet format that you can upload these directly into Homebase in Touch. And that gives you access to your records. It gives you access to pre-formatted drip campaigns for email. And you can do it all with a matter of one click. So the reason you need to change formats is that In Touch has its own particular format that it wants you to use. And so, again, not rocket science, but you will have to follow the rules to make sure that they're compliant for the In Touch system. If you use another system, I'm sure the same rules apply. You need to get them into certain columns and so forth. But if you remember from my In Touch presentation just recently, you can do 1,000 names in one shot into one batch and upload them into there if you have 1,000 names. Well, here we have 196. Perhaps you'd want to simply check them off as you talk to them and turn that into a follow-up campaign as a follow-up to the phone call you made, which absolutely quadruples the effort of the phone call, right? Absolutely raises the bar. Because just the one call alone, just the one piece of mail isn't it. We know you need multiple follow-ups and touches. So here's a great way to follow that. Add a system to it. Add in some email. Of course, the phone call you got to make to get the email address. So make sure that when you're calling, I'd like to send you some information, Bob. I'd love to send you my market analysis of what's been happening in your neighborhood over the last 3 years. If you'd like that, I can just need your email address today. And open the door, but that's some nice permission marketing. We've got a piece of value. If he gives you an email address, you know that means he sees value in your offering. If they tell you to take off, that's okay. You can still follow up with a piece of snail mail because we still have all the information, but you mark it up accordingly and keep tracking. Great question. And yet, it brings all of our systems together, which is exactly why I'm working my way through the gateway. These are what they're designed to do.
Okay.
You no longer have the excuse that we don't have this or that. You've got all the pieces, guys. And I'm telling you, you can take this and inside of an hour have a mailing ready to go, much less if you're sending out an email because you've got all the pieces that you need. And to upload them into InTouch, now you can track and have a system that's going to remind you to do it again, which I think we all need because we all have great intentions. But what if you set aside half a day every week just to go into InTouch, see what bubbled up, respond to them, and then go on and do what you do? You're going to see your business grow, guys. It's just another powerful tool that the rest of the world is spending tons of money to create these tools, and you have them at your fingertips. We just don't use them. Any other questions in my studio audience? You win a donut.
Yes, we do.
One ring of death for you.
One ring of death. Sprinkles.
Hey, there's sprinkles in there. They look great.
So I never merged it all.
So far we've done 2 real simple searches and have brought us into a scrub list and also a nice little neighborhood list. Go back to the mailing. If you're into a different format, perhaps you just want to do a quick radius search. There you go. How far out would you like to go? Now you're going to find that 1/10 of a mile adds a lot of houses. So, you don't need to go out 1.5 miles. However, if you want to, live it up. Now let me show you a real powerful application in my mind to how can we add a real method to the madness here.
I know.
One of the things I like to do in any market is to know the market.
I will help you. I love
and here's a quick way to know exactly what happened. We're at an optimum time of the year right now.
4 fun things a year: winter, spring, summer, fall. Drip on your sphere.
We're at an optimum. Give me a break.
Then if you have a just listed, that's me and Bar. But just sold. That's huge. Yeah. Drip.
Okay, so we're at an optimum time of the year to look around and see what happened this past year. And so one of my favorite search fields is a map search. So if we wanted to say, well, where are we going to have the most success in sending my information? How about to an area where we already know people are buying? So let's look at things over the last 12 months that have closed in a particular area. And since Bob gave me an address, we're going to stick with that address. So I'm in Paragon, and I'm sorry, I do move a little quickly. So we've gone into Paragon. I'm going to pick up sold properties for the last 12 months And then I like to use this search by map. We're going to let the multi-list do all the hard work for us. So, of course, CPML and my computer dig Hershey, so we end up in Hershey all the time. But we're going to edit that address. And if you don't use this map search, this is a great time of year to learn this one. So this little pagoda-looking icon is going to allow us to create a center point for my search, which today is 33 Creek Road. And again, I'm going to leave that road off of there. I'm going to Camp Hill. And Bob, what's that zip again?
Every time I get to Hershey.
And so we're going to 17011. It finds that location, built next to Memorial Gardens, which, okay. But now let's do this. Let's see where the sales have occurred in Camp Hill Borough that I want to zero in on because that's my purpose today. I want to go fishing where the fish are, guys. I don't want to send a lot of stuff to a neighborhood where nobody's buying. And I watch a lot of you want to own an area where nothing's going on. So it's easy to dominate nothing, but it's hard to make money that way. So let's say that we'd be willing to drive, from our Camp Hill location, way out in the sticks to like Wormleysburg. Maybe go to New Cumberland a little bit because what we want to do is get a snapshot of what this market looks like. So again, I like free-form searching. So I'm going to select the polygon, and I'm willing to even do that crazy intersection on Orr's Bridge. I was just over in this Good Hope area this week, and I have no idea where anything is once you take me out of Lebanon County or Hershey. I was totally impressed with the number of homes, and I want a piece of that. So what I'm going to do is create a little search. We won't go out in the water. I guess we'll skip the airport. But let's go to the Turnpike. And so it's a big area. But as soon as I close that loop, the multi-list just did a search for me, and it shows me every property that has sold in the last 12 months. So as much as I liked this area, there's nothing going on. Now, what we might find is that these are homes that might be school tax issues. Maybe they're newer homes, and so they're upside down. But I want to go where the action is, where we're seeing that people are buying and selling. So I can add this criteria to my search. And now I've got 700 properties. I can view them any way I want, but I like to keep looking at them on the map. And now I can simply zoom in and see some addresses and get an idea. So we actually have a pretty good group of sales right around your 33 Creek. And we can see that they're going off at 103, 105, 85. Yeah, I can see why they'd be selling. But a quick search like this allows you to really become the expert in the neighborhood real fast because now we know a lot about what's selling around the borough. A lot of $100,000 stuff. We can also look at a spreadsheet and see the whole picture, but we can quickly see where the hot spots are, where the hot price ranges are, and why don't we go list those? Because I love $350,000 homes listed when they sell. But if you have one and you're beating your head against the wall and it's not selling, and you're laughing at Bob because he's listed all this stuff at 100, 100 and a quarter, and he's doing all these units, look how hard you're working. You're doing 4 and 5 sales. I've got one at 350. I got you beat. But you're getting checks. Yeah. So that's why I like to put a little method to the madness here, guys. We all want to go out and capture all those great high-end listings. I like high-end sales. I like low-end sales. I like anything that sends me a check. And right now we can see real fast that when you get into the marketplace around Camp Hill, that let's see what our averages look like.
I don't want to move. Look at my house I'm leaving. And we're laughing going.
They're under 2. The median is at 168, 174. So we've got a lot of stuff here under 100,000
Oh, John, I wish you the best luck. I'm sorry.
that's selling. And if we go to the end, let's see what the high-end stuff looks like. Well, you've got some nice stuff, $800,000. But you're going to see quickly that here we hit 2, there's 3, and so we go from 625
Brian, and then an hour later I would get the call.
to the 705, or anything over 3. So still not a bad grouping. We got about 15% of the properties are over 3. So that's not bad, but you might want to select them, and let's just do that.
I got a couple weeks ago. Like, I'm like, oh, the things are expiring December 15th, and I brought them in.
So I'm going to select all the properties that are over $300,000. They're the only ones I want to view.
Back, she doesn't.
And I guess I'm doing this backwards. I can't go to my view on the map. Got to go back and redo my criteria.
And one more of that.
So let's do that. Let's do 300 North.
Really, what he took over to have.
We'll add that to my criteria. We're down to 80.
Main level map.
We go down to the map, and there they are. So now we've got a good idea of what sells over 3 and where do they live. So once again, you might want to have a different message outside of the borough than you do inside the borough based on what's been selling. And again, you don't really want to, whoa, it's too early for that. You may not want to throw your money over into this region if you're marketing for people that are looking for $300,000 home or to list over 3. Might be an area that you mail to because they would move up to that home. Again, we redo our search for the under 3s. So you can tailor your message a number of ways. Now we've found our location. Now we know what's going to work for our mailing. Around your 33, our message is under 300,000. That $100,000, $200,000 marketing message, market analysis, graph that we're going to send out. We're taking this, we're putting all this science behind a postcard. But it's simply going to raise your open rate and your response rate because you're sending a message that they can relate to. And you can put it in a tone that's going to be respectful of, this is your scale of house, here's what's going on, call me, I'm the expert in the marketplace. Because no one else is sending them data like this. I'd be stunned if they are. Everybody else is, call me because I'm awesome. They haven't met you yet. They may not know how awesome you are. So a number of ways to take all this, morph it together, turn it into a real focused and targeted message. If you follow anything online, we know right now, people are being bombarded with ads and information just unmerciful. But the marketers realize that, and what they're trying to do is send a message that when you read the headline, it relates to you. So if I send you a postcard, here's an analysis of the market between $100,000 and $200,000, and you live around 33 Creek Road, you might read that.
I'm telling you.
How's your home performing? And give them an idea of what their market looks like, as opposed to, call me to sell your home. Let's give them a reason to give it up and get back in touch with you for more information. Guys, any questions here in the live studio audience? Make something up. All donuts are not filled. Some of them are just rings.
Will you recommend?
That's another memory dig.
We strongly recommend crafting the marketing message for each demographic you're looking at the price range.
Yeah, the question is, would I craft a message for each demographic that I'm going to market to? Today, absolutely. Simply because I can. And it's going to result in a higher open rate. And I think if I came into your house and you pick it up and you say, well, that sounds like my house, you're more likely to read it.
Can happen.
And say, hey, I'm your expert in marketing luxury homes.
Working it all out,
Well, I love that. I wish I had one. But I'm not speaking to you directly, so I'm trying to connect with that consumer as best as I possibly can, where he is. And we're seeing that if you're doing an online message, that's incredibly effective. If you're doing email, it's incredibly effective to tailor that message to that audience. And so with these tools, the way we just tore them apart allows us to build a really effective message because I know your price range, I know where you live, I know who I'm trying to reach. Why not tailor a message?
On Inside JGR if you want to.
Because if I send it to an area where there's nothing and I say, sell your home in 60 days, call me.
Good for you.
I might be setting myself up for a big disappointment.
Oh, you have to pay for it.
So, yeah, the more I can tailor and tweak that message, absolutely, I think that would make the powerful mailing piece.
Yeah.
And if you want to take it down to a particular neighborhood, you just do all these things for Good Hope Farms, for Ivy Ridge, for whatever area you're focusing on. And now, am I the expert in the neighborhood? Yeah, because I've got the data. I've created the report. I'm reaching out to you, to the Ivy Ridge residents. How are your homes performing?
Oh, yeah.
Because it's a great way to tailor it to that particular area. Nobody's really doing 2 gazillion cards anyway.
I was at the level.
So if you're doing a mailing of 40, 50 pieces, let's make it really effective.
Right.
And this is a great way to test market these ideas, is to go throw that dart. Maybe you need to tweak the message. Check your open rates. Check your replies. But I absolutely think right now we have the way to mash these all up and tailor a great specific message. Sharpen that dart and throw it out the door.
Oh, the reload.
We had this thing on the Cedar Cliff,
Back in the day.
relay
Yeah.
farms, jumping back up to the high.
Thanks. Later. Later. Do you want me to meet you there?
But
Yeah.
to me, it's
Up to you.
trying to figure out either do I stay committee, do I stay to the neighbor?
I can get out of there before 30.
That's
fine.
Sometimes I want to go around Highland Park and Cedar Cliff, and I don't
Okay.
have, I can't be
Bye.
having a computer here, but I have one like a paper printout.
Sure.
So if I want to stop by, I'm doing this now more right up to the expire, right up face the
Great.
and I get some overlooks when I appear at the door.
Yeah, yeah.
And then-
He said, Johnny.
So I'm thinking I better have this packet.
Well, that's fine. And if that's your style, paper works too. The question here is if I'm going to be more of a, at the door kind of person, would you print this out? Well, absolutely.
Focusing on specific street, on specific homes. So I'm not just trying to do 30 homes and get 0 response.
Right.
I don't know if that's the viewer.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you took that report we just did, the sold, and overlaid it with the current expired, now I really know that I can come into an area where things are selling. Bob, I did a report, and boy, everything is sold around you, and your home's expired. What do you think? What do you think's going on? You can come up with a stronger message at the door when they look at that and say, I know everything's been selling, but what's your agent doing that you like? What do you wish you would have done? That's what I do. So it gives you a great opportunity to meet them at the door. So sure, print it out, send it to your phone. You want to be cool, send it to your phone. You have the ability to view it on your phone these days. Anything I can do to automate it that makes me look cooler, I'm all for. But whatever suits your style, if printing it out is your comfort level, great. I'd say print it out on awesome paper. And print it out along with some other material. So if you are going to show up with that, go to it, because that's what I would have in my iPad. I'd have my report digitized.
Get it down.
Bind it.
Penny to get it down here.
If I have it in my iPad and I get to talk to you at the door and I hit you with that same comment and I show you that map on here with all the data below it, what are they going to say? Can I get a copy of that? I need your email address. And I'll do it right now. And now I've captured your email address. I did all in one moment. And now you go into the new bucket of, I got to talk to this guy. He wanted my report. And now I can follow up with him in email, direct mail, phone call. It's all good because you've just eliminated the do not call list. We just had a conversation, business oriented. You broke in on all fronts. And I've got your email address and the rest of your info. Absolutely. I think there's so much power in all this data. And again, you can do this any day of the year. Right now, we can see what's going on for the year in these areas. We've added it to our criteria. We're going to do a search. And we're going to turn it into my favorite report, which is the market condition report. And now I can tell you exactly what the travel rate of properties has been with that grouping. And so now I can tell you what the whole year looked like. I need a couple more pieces of data. I would need the actives and pending for this to be effective. Without the actives, it's giving us some skewed numbers, but I could show up with this too. This is my ace card every day. So folks, I'm going to spend some additional time here in Carlisle answering some more questions. I think we've had some real great examples for you. So we've kind of mashed them all up today, but the addresses was the final piece. So find it in the multi list, find the hot spots, find the addresses, call them, visit them, mail them, do whatever you like. But you have the tools to drill this down and create some really targeted, effective messages in a real short period of time and show up looking like the expert. Create that toolkit presentation, the postcard, whatever you want to do, and throw some real sharp darts as part of your marketing for this spring and get some homes listed that are sure to sell, because we're going to list stuff that the market is already demonstrating are the fastest moving things in the market. What a concept. So I want to thank my guys here in Carlisle for showing up and offering some great questions. I don't do well by myself, or as well. I do like people. So any questions, be sure to follow up with me. We'll be back next Thursday with another gripping topic, and this will be archived and available on the web a little later today. So thanks for tuning in, and guys for showing up, participating, and we're going after doing it. So everybody, thanks. See you next time.